You know, I was going to get on this channel and I was going to make this video, the best matches of WWE in 2025 so far, but then I almost died on Saturday. One day before my birthday, 2 months after changing my tires, one of my tires, popped off completely. I had to watch each lug nut pop out one by one from my car and the tire pop off and me crash into a ditch, which in any other setting, if it was on the highway or any other busy road, me, my girlfriend, and my best friend would be dead. So I'm gonna use all this anger to be negative. This is the top worst matches in WWE of 2025 so far. Now, this is not like a top 10 list. This is just, and this is not in any really particular order. We're gonna do the specific order at the end of the year for the worst and best matches, but today I feel like being hateful. So I have written down a bunch of matches, and when I say worst matches, this is not an objective list. This is only in my personal opinion. I'm only one person. So this is a subjective, my least favorite WWE matches of 2025. Starting with, and I hate to keep beating this dead horse because I feel like I bring this match up a lot in a negative way. And a lot of people actually feel positive about this match. It's Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania 41. Now, I'm not going to go into the story of the match because I've already kind of expressed my displeasure for all that stuff. And, you write one article in a magazine or whatever, and everybody suddenly changes their minds and forgets all of the stuff that somebody did. But that's okay, whatever. At the actual WrestleMania match, you're expecting Charlotte. Let me give you an example. I'm going to cut myself off. This is a Yap Sesh, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's a Yap Sesh episode. Hey. WrestleMania 39. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley had one of the greatest matches of that weekend. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, women's match ever. A lot of people go to Bayley Sasha. I personally like Charlotte and Rhea more. It's weird that when you talk about best women's matches ever, they're only in the last 10 years, but that's just the world we're living in, sort of, at least in WWE. I expected this match to be like that. You know what I mean? Obviously, people think that I have a bias, which maybe I do, for a certain somebody that was in this match, but I know what they're both capable of. You know what I mean? I know Tiffany is new, and some people are having they're waving the flag of, oh, she's not good in singles matches. She's not. What are we talking about? I don't think that there's an argument to be made that Tiffany Stratton is a bad wrestler. And the same thing goes for Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet, especially in the women's division and especially in WWE. So when you have these two together in a match, you're expecting a lot more than what happened. I can't help but feel like, and I don't want to harp on this for too long, because if you want to know my full, thoughts on this match, I've said it in a bunch of other videos. But I think somebody was trying to make somebody else look bad. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Sandbagging is a real thing in this industry. And I'm going to leave it at that. Now, a lot of these matches that I have here, when I have worst matches down, because honestly, the match quality of WWE has been pretty okay this year. There's been a couple short matches and matches that I feel like could have maybe delivered more than they did, but that doesn't really make them qualify for the worst matches of the year list. So I thought, what does? Is it booking? Is it the performances? Is it, how the match was received by a crowd or the crowd participation in it? And my thought is just a little bit of everything goes into it, because the next match that I want to talk about here is Jay Cargle versus Asuka at Night of Champions. Now, we need to have a serious discussion. We talked about on the Reddit video, what was it, 2 Reddit videos ago? Misogyny, people hating women. And I feel like the crowd at Night of Champions was very, very loud and very vocal about who they wanted to see, and they were really quiet about the people that they didn't want to see. People who they didn't want to see is Jay Cargle versus Asuka. For what reason? Couldn't tell you. But, it showed a lot. When you see CM Punk and John Cena in the crowd's going crazy with the lights flashing everywhere, chanting, screaming, it brings this atmosphere to a match that makes you more excited. It could be one of the worst matches on the planet, but crowd participation is such a huge factor in specifically American wrestling for making a match feel important. And I feel like a match that should have felt important was the Queen of the Ring finals. Jade Cargill versus Asuka is already kind of a weird matchup enough as it is. You know what I mean? You don't really think of that as a dream match when you think of the two of them. And I feel like, I'm just scared for the Rumble. I'm really scared. Well, you know what? Maybe I'm not being fair to it. Let's watch some highlights from this match, shall we? Oh, the highlights video is about a minute long. Oh, okay, that's fair. And okay, this was not like the most exciting match in the world either. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that it was the crowd's fault as to why I'm putting this on this list. I'm just saying it didn't help that much. I also just don't feel like they gelled together. I don't want to go. I feel weird going, further than that. But they just don't work together for me. The two styles that they have, they didn't mesh well. And I don't think that turned the crowd off. I think the crowd were just turned off in general, which also made me feel a little less excited for what I was about to see because I just felt bad the entire time. And yeah. But what I will go into in a little bit of detail is the next match on this list, which is Gunther versus Pat McAfee at Backlash 2025. Now, again, this is a very opinionated list. I feel like a lot of the matches that I have on here, people are not going to agree with. This being one of them, because I feel like people really like Pat McAfee and really liked the match and the performance. People were expecting it to be like the shittiest match on earth. And while I'm not going to say it was the shittiest match on earth, I have a really big problem with how this match played out. Now, I understand Pat McAfee has wrestled a couple of times before. His debut match was what? Adam Cole? It was a long time ago. He's not like a really established professional wrestler. He did lose to Vince McMahon at WrestleMania because of a punt. He punted a football at him. Do I remember that correctly? I think I do. So when I picture Pat McAfee versus Gunther, who is a two-time World Heavyweight Champion, at least he one time at that point, held it for a pretty decent amount of time, also longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, longest NXT UK Champion ever, and, been a champion 80% of the time he's been in the company, whatever. I would just assume that Gunther would whoop his ass. Gunther had just lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, and this was a nice little way for Gunther to get some steam back under him, give him something to do before he goes back after the World Heavyweight Championship. And Pat McAfee just ate everything that Gunther had. All of the offense. He just took it like he's a 20-year veteran who just knows the ins and outs of Gunther's move. And I get it. Listen, you're standing up for yourself. You know what I mean? You're a guy, you're a tough guy, and you're not gonna let him keep you down. And they shook hands afterwards and like Pat McAfee's some fucking warrior. My thing is, he's a commentator. At the end of the day, I understand he's wrestled in matches before. I get it. But he just lost the world championship, and we're having him take all this punishment, and Gunther almost lost because of him and Michael Cole. Michael Cole holding his legs down. I just feel like this is 2011 all over again. It's not that bad, but we were touching it. Gunther needs to start beating people bad. We just got off of the championship run where he was scared of Damian Priest. Why? Why are we doing that? So for him to then tap out to Jey Uso, which, okay, I've come to terms with that. But now it's taking him over 10 minutes, 12 minutes to beat a commentator. That should never be the case. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't. I do feel very hateful today, and that's making me sad because I'm going through all these matches, and I feel like there is definitely reasons to like the matches that I've listed so far, and I know people are not going to agree maybe with anything that I'm saying today. This is just, again, my personal opinion, because for the most part, the match quality has been really, really good this year, including in this match. And again, it's weird. I'm not going to talk about the match specifically, at least not as much as you think I am. It's DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns at the Royal Rumble is next on the list. Now, my thing is, 2 out of 3 falls matches. Let's talk about some good ones. DIY versus the Revival, right? Fantastic. I even really like the Bayley and Lyra one that happened recently because they lost each of the falls because of a slip-up that they had made, and the other person took advantage of it. And I get that. It's also on an episode of Raw, but at the Royal Rumble, when tag team championship matches are very, very hard to come by on pay-per-view, we finally get one. DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match that lasted 14 minutes. 14 minutes for a pay-per-view 2 out of 3 falls match. I thought that if tag team wrestling was going to have a resurgence on pay-per-view, we had the ladder match at WrestleMania, and then Was there anything else in 2024 for men's tag team matches? I don't know if there was. But we had this at the Rumble, and you got rid of 2 falls like that. My thing is, if you're gonna go for 14 minutes, why not just do a 1 fall to a finish match? Why'd you have to waste time doing 1 point apiece? I just don't understand that. If you're not gonna at least drag it out, nobody. And again, I know the Bayley Lara matches happen, but in a 2 out of 3 falls matches, it should take a while for the first fall to happen. I don't understand how all of a sudden, now that we have this stipulation on it, your people are getting pinned in 4 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe how did this happen in every single 2 out of 3 falls match?" You're on pay-per-view. There's 4 matches on this show, and I think the show is like 4 hours. And I get, Rumbles are long, I get it, but like we're again on pay-per-view, which I don't think has a time restriction. I think you could have squeezed in a couple more minutes to this tag team match instead of showing a bunch of Snickers ads. I don't know. The crowd was not into it because how every 2 out of 3 falls match goes is fall, and then we're going to see who wins the third one. There's no mixing it up with the stipulation. They do it every single time, and people, especially, American professional wrestling fans, are just sitting on their they're sitting on their hands, not making any noise because they're just waiting for the thing that they know is coming to happen. But when that third fall happened, it was just like, it was a wet fart. There was no third act. There was no exciting crescendo of near falls. Like, how many great tag team matches have we seen this year on television? I mean, the Judgment Day, Raquel teaming with Liv and Roxanne, they've had some great tag team matches. And then we go here, and it's DIY in a 2 out of 3 falls match. How have we dropped the ball with that? And then the Street Profits, came in, and then that was like it. Okay. I'm also going to put the Logan Paul and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso tag team match on here. I am so sick and tired. I feel very, really bitter today, and that's making me sad. Am I turning into one of those guys? Small afro from NY 206. But
the Mexicans.
But yeah, the tag team match, I'm so tired of random tag team matches that mean nothing. Okay? Last year at Money in the Bank, we had Solo Sikoa and the Tongans versus Cody, Orton, and Owens. And in a match that was the main event of the show, kind of meant not much. And Solo did pin Cody. At least that did lead to the SummerSlam main event. This kind of just didn't. And I understand Cody pinned John Cena, but then he didn't get a championship match out of it. He had to then win King of the Ring to get a championship match, which kind of just means that we didn't have to do this tag team thing at all. If Cody's winning the championship at SummerSlam, maybe you could have had another one-on-one with Cena at Money in the Bank where Cena cheated to win again. You know what I mean? We only told the story one time of Cody not pulling the trigger with Cena. All of a sudden he's just evil now. He beat Randy. He cheated against Randy Orton at King of the Ring when there was kind of no pressure to do that. That's all right. I think they were just looking for a way to put all the top stars on the show in the main event. You could have really done Jey Uso versus Logan Paul again. I know it's a rematch, but it's they do that all the time anyway. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the world title and Cody versus Cena for the WWE title. Why not? And you could have had Jey win, and then you could have had, Cena cheat to win, whatever. That's fine. But we had the tag match instead, where Cena and Logan Paul kind of randomly teamed together. Cena was just talking smack to Jey about losing to a YouTuber in the back, and then we just jumped in the main event to help Logan Paul or whatever. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. And then I had to sit there in the match and watch Cena and Logan bicker like an old married couple, being "Oh, you kidding me?" And then Cena's acting. His heel run has been really, really good so far. I'm a big fan of the heel run. A lot of people are not, but I think that this has been such a change up to what we're used to seeing from Cena that I'm into it because it's such a big difference. I like how that's the thing that I like, the thing that people don't like. But the acting from Cena in this, where Logan Paul and Cena were bickering, was just it went on for so long. They're sitting here arguing for about 3 minutes while a hot tag is going on. It's okay. And then Cena gets pinned. It was very nothing, kind of bland, lifeless, storyless match. And that leads me to the final match on this list. Again, this is not in order, but if there was going to be a number one spot, it'd be this one. It's John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 for the WWE Championship. Now listen, John Cena going for the 17th World Championship against Cody Rhodes, who's been champion since the previous WrestleMania, right? Everyone's waiting for The Rock to come out. You showed him in the video package. You showed The Rock in the video package for John Cena's heel turn, which happened a month previously. And then, you know, it's okay. It's an all right match. They're going back and forth. Cena's hitting Cody with every attitude adjustment imaginable. Cody's just kicking out of 3, 4, 5 of them. Sure, whatever. And then Fiend hits. Fiend hits. It's not The Rock. Mind you, I thought, and so did everybody else in Allegiant Stadium, that Travis Scott was only the start of what was going to happen in that match. But no, Travis Scott walked out, took about 5 minutes to walk down to the ring. And mind you, this happened when Cena was on top. Cody was not about to win the match, and then Travis Scott came to the ring. Cena had Cody down, and then they hit Fiend. And Cena was like, oh yeah, you're gonna get it now. Cena didn't even need help at that point. He was just coming down for no reason. And people liked when Cena was like, I'm gonna ruin wrestling and you get nothing, and you know, everything you wanted from this run, you're not gonna get, because you actually hating me and hating the things that I'm doing is me being a good heel. And sure, but it's also not entertaining. And is that the point? I don't know, because Travis Scott helping John Cena, the final shot of WrestleMania, by the way, in the main event, by the way, the actual main event, not like, you know, it's one of 2 main events, it's the main event of WrestleMania. It's Travis Scott closing the show. Travis Scott and John Cena lifting up hands while John Cena celebrates his record-breaking 17th World Championship run. That moment is going to be forever remembered as the Travis Scott to the rescue moment. And why? And then The Rock, there was all these reports about The Rock wanting Cody Rhodes to be the one that turned heel, and, you know, they pitched it to be Cena instead. And I think because of that, and we've talked about it a lot, The Rock, I don't think, wanted any parts with that storyline anymore. And he goes, I'm done. He goes, oh, there was no reason for the final boss to be a part of, you know, I'm going to let Cena do his thing. So then why were you a part of him turning heel in the first place? You fucking bitch. We can see right through the lies. Like, I'm so sick of Triple H and The Rock lying. I'd respect it 10 times more if they were just like, yeah, I didn't want to do it. Sorry. But instead what we got was what we got at WrestleMania. And, you know, there's been a lot of great matches that's happened this year. We're going to talk about them in December, and we're going to add a couple more matches to this list, or maybe remove some and replace them with other matches that happen for the rest of the year. But while I sit here as hateful and bitter as I could possibly be, good God, I can't even talk either. Please let me know what you think the worst match of WWE in 2025 is in the comments below. It's probably Cena Cody, isn't it? All right, well, we'll see you later. Hey, the Content Creator Royal Rumble is next. We're going to film that soon, tomorrow. So you're going to get that in 2 days. We'll see you soon, everybody. Peace out.